In the past decade, the European Law Institute has completed 13 projects spanning various areas of the law. This has been made possible by our amazing project teams, but of course also with the support and the combined expertise of our whole membership. ELI projects address key legal issues with an aim to serve the people, companies and organisations in Europe by improving the law or facilitating its application. And I now invite you to join us in looking back on a decade of ELI projects and on the impact they've had.
The report on case overload at the European Court of Human Rights proposed practical steps to improve the way in which the court managed its caseload. Many of these steps have been implemented. ELI's work on sales law provided innovative thinking to move the law forward from traditional sales law to new principles for the digital market. Much of this is now reflected in the EU directives on digital content and consumer sales. Practical guidance was provided by the project on EU copyright rules. Project on collective redress and competition damages claims offered an in-depth analysis for a European framework for these remedies. The growth in cross-border crime required the development by ELI of model legislation for preventing and settling conflicts of jurisdiction in criminal law. This was the first of its kind. The provision of checklists and European standards on detention of asylum seekers and irregular migrants significantly assists judges and facilitates the rule of law. The project on the rescue of businesses in insolvency law provided recommendations for the orderly rescue of businesses in distress. Much of this is now reflected in the restructuring directive.
I certainly think the report has had an impact. The European Commission has looked at it when drafting the directive. National courts have used it, court in Lithuania for instance, and national legislators, the one in England. And by the way, there's a full Russian translation of the report.
The ELI ENCJ project on courts and alternative dispute resolution provides practical guidance to judges and practitioners in navigating alternative methods for resolving disputes. The toolkits produced by the project on empowering European families support international families in Europe by providing assistance to lawyers and promoting family mediation. The ELI model rules on online platforms provide a balanced approach to transparency, fairness, and liability in the newly emerging and rapidly growing platform economy. The project on the protection of adults in international situations sets out a set of measures that the EU could take in order to enhance the protection of adults in such circumstances.
In the space of a few years, the international protection of adults, once a largely neglected topic, has become a priority for the EU institutions, as attested by the programme of the Portuguese presidency and by the study that the Commission has recently launched on this matter. The ELI Adults project was crucial to this development. Its report is a constant reference in the debate. Further developments are expected to arise in the coming months, and the ELI continues to have a very important role to play.
The ELI Unit 3 Model Rules of Civil Procedure provide clear proposals for the further harmonization of procedural standards and the reform of domestic litigation by promoting fairness, speed, and effectiveness in judicial proceedings.
7 years ago, the European Law Institute and UNIDROIT began an ambitious joint project to develop modern, efficient and fair rules of European civil procedure, adapting the existing ELI UNIDROIT principles to a regional dimension. The resulting ELI UNIDROIT model rules have already influenced the debate on law reform before their final publication. We are confident that they will continue to inspire academics, policymakers and practitioners in Europe and beyond.
In our fast-paced digital age, there is an increased need to regulate areas that have a direct impact on our lives and on the lives of future generations. ELI is therefore engaged in developing innovative ways of addressing the most pressing legal issues of our time. ELI has grouped its ongoing work into three main thematic pillars: the rule of law.
There is no effective judicial protection nor mutual trust without independent courts. To address the challenges faced by any of the EU judiciaries, we are turning the international Mount Scopus standards of judicial independence into some European standards, specifically tailored to the situations of the EU judiciaries. These standards will bolster the values of the rule of law, and they will provide major guidance to overcome the challenges ahead.
Law and governance for the digital age, sustainable development. With 11 ongoing projects currently under these three thematic pillars, ELI is driving the agenda forward to ensure the law provides real benefits for the protection of citizens, professionals, and the institutions of the state and of society. ELI is conducting these projects on its own and jointly with other organizations, both in a European and in international frameworks. The project on principles for a data economy, for example, is being undertaken jointly with the American Law Institute. This will shape the future of data rights and transactions on both sides of the Atlantic.